Good morning and thank you for the round of applause. And today is the final day of the event. On behalf of the National Innovation Agency, or NIA, I would like to welcome all of you to the largest innovation event, the Startup Thailand Innovation Expo 2023. And for today, we will create an innovation partnership and an ecosystem for startups in Thailand to strengthen the partnership. And we will also strengthen the relationship of all sectors, whether it's the government sector, private sector, CSOs, and also educational institutions with 4 activities, whether it is the forum, and we are now in the main stage, as well as business opportunities. You are able to expand your opportunities to expand your business with various partners. We will also have a showcase of innovation that will create change in the future. And there is also the award ceremony, which was held on the first day of the event. For today, at the main stage, we will have interesting highlights, and I would like to invite all of you to listen to the topics. And we have representatives from Deloitte Consulting Human Capital Thailand who will share information with us for the first session of today. For those who would like to receive interpretation headsets, you can receive the headsets beside the main stage, so you can contact the staff there.
Ladies and gentlemen, and of course for all our exhibitors and visitors right here at Startup Innovation Thailand Expo 2023, SITE 2023. Welcome everyone once again to the greatest and the biggest innovation exhibition and startup networking event right here in Thailand and also in the region. So this year we come up with the theme and the concept of innovation partnership, Together We Grow. So we have organized this event together all of the startup ecosystem and innovation ecosystem to come right here to have like many of activities, and also that we are going to have the informative session right here at the main stage going to delivered by our distinguished speaker. So the first speaker for this morning session
วิทยากรท่านแรกนะคะก็จะเป็นหัวข้อปลดล็อกศักยภาพนะคะประเมินสถานภาพปัจจุบันของระบบนิเวศ VC ของไทยและยุทธศาสตร์ในการสร้างพลังนะคะก็จะขอเรียนเชิญวิทยากรท่านแรกขึ้นเวทีเลยค่ะเรียนเชิญนะคะคุณอริยะฝึกฝนจาก Deloitte Consulting Human Capital Thailand ค่ะเรียนเชิญค่ะ
ทีนี้นะครับทาง Deloitte เองเนี่ยได้รับมอบหมายจากทาง NIA นะครับให้มาพูดคุยว่าเพื่อให้เกิด
Deloitte has been asked by NIA to talk about the ecosystem, which is the main objective of the event for the past few days. Actually, Thailand. So where is Thailand compared to the global scale? Or where is Thailand compared to ASEAN? As well as in the view of Deloitte Consulting, how should the ecosystem be? So today I would like to talk about this issue. Apart from being an executive of Deloitte Consulting, I am also a VC. And also I'm a startup. I used to compete in 2007 and I won the prize, and I think that it's something that Deloitte and myself wish to discuss more in detail today. So today I will talk about 3 topics. The first topic, so the Thai startup in the past few years, what has happened to them? The second issue I would like to talk about is compared to other countries which we have studied, how does Thailand compare? And the third issue, what does Deloitte think about Thailand's ecosystem because after my session, there will be discussions about these issues. And I would like to use this opportunity to help NIA. First of all, let's look at the data. For Thailand, it's the top graph. Can you see the numbers in the circles? 50, and then we dropped to 53, 52. What you see here is since 2019, Thailand's rankings in terms of investments of VCs in startups in Thailand has dropped. While in Asia Pacific, the numbers haven't dropped. What does that mean? That means other countries are already investing, but Thailand has disappeared. Disappeared from what? So I'll talk about that on the next slide. What have we invested in? During the past few years, we have invested in 3 core sectors, fintech. If we look back towards the past 2 to 3 years, what kind of fintech did we invest in? Is it Ascent or Omisec? Most of them are corporate ventures during the past few years. And then e-commerce, and this is due to the COVID pandemic. And the last is business solutions. So you can see the clear trend. So what has disappeared when we dropped? As you can see from the graph, the amount has decreased clearly, especially during the COVID pandemic. But the area, you can see that there is some post-seed funding. What has happened? One thing that we have observed is that during this period, small startups during the seed period have disappeared. And actually, if you're in the industry, you will know that they almost disappeared altogether. And those who exist, those who survive until today are startups who have started to receive funding, and we call those startups the post-seed period. Many projects which I was overseeing disappeared due to the COVID pandemic. We weren't able to communicate with them, and many startups don't receive revenue from training during the pandemic. And the second issue is that the funding from accelerators before the pre-seed period has decreased. And there are 2 reasons. The one reason is that many accelerators in Thailand have a focus. For example, if we talk about the PTT group, it is clear that so they have a clear focus on investment, or SCG, Beacon. So for Beacon, as you already know, they would invest in a Series A, A+, and these groups who used to invest in seeds would either focus more or disappear during this period. And last of all, during the past few years, there are corporate ventures who are investing more in the market, and this is different from the groups from Silicon Valley. And what are the challenges that have occurred? There are 13 challenges. The first challenge is related to economic concerns. So it's like we need to have water in order to get things flowing. In an economic sense, the first issue that is related to the economy is corporations, affluent corporations in Thailand who have a large amount of money in the market, they are thinking of investing, and they also have a clearer focus. So when we talk about small startups that might not be in their ecosystem, it might be difficult for them to penetrate. And the second issue is that startups in Thailand, many startups are struggling to access international markets. For startups in Thailand, if they are not part of if they don't have an international mindset, and for instance, when I meet up with startups, for instance, who are located in Ekamai, they might have a more international mindset, or even in the Ari area, they have co-founders who are foreigners. But if you go to Jula or Hua Chang Bridge, then they are not the same. And so with these groups, it's more difficult for them to access the regional or international market. Or for the groups who have potential, when they might enter neighboring countries instead. And the last issue is compared to before 2009. So in 2018 and 2017, at that time, we still had investors or angel investors, many organizations who were interested in. At that time, we could see that there were hackathons almost every week. But during the past 3 years, we have seen that investors were concerned in investment. And startups within the early stage startups were focusing on startups that were already solid. That means that early stage startups had to depend on angel investors. So we can see that the first issue in terms of the economy, the funding has decreased during the past few years if you look at the point of view of the startups. And the second issue is related to the infrastructure. The infrastructure is like the water pathway, and when the funding comes in the past, there would be a lot of money coming in. And right now, apart from the limited amount of water, the infrastructure or the pathway has been blocked. The first thing that we have seen is those who have supported startups in the past, the various programs, the hackathons. We can see that during the past 3 years, it was the first big event of NIA after COVID, and it's a good sign. After I was invited by the NIA, I was very willing to come because all this would help support startups. And I'm also a VC. I'm also an executive of Deloitte. I would like to see these things happening. We need to support each other. And so this is to create an infrastructure. That's the fourth factor. And the fifth challenge is, if we compare it to the system, the international system, such as that in the UK, other than having local programs, and actually they have come to Thailand, and I think that their programs are interesting, and the fact that the NIA has brought in the various partners and the director has helped create an ecosystem. It's one of the success factors. And at that time, I asked a Thai woman. She was only about 28 to 29 years old, and she was working on UAVs and drones, and she used image processing to detect buildings, whether or not they needed maintenance. And I asked her, "Are you an engineer?" And she said no. And she said there was this program by the UK government, and the reason why they did this is that they didn't believe in the old economy. They needed a new economic driver, and that's why they created this program. And so she registered for this program, and then she tried to find a partner who was a co-founder, who was also British, and she also had a mentor who was a professor at Oxford. So this is in terms of the academy. And why do we have to have educational institutions as partners? Because some professors can guide us. And while in the past, I found that apart from the limited budget of startups, we've also found that in terms of the technical capabilities, it's also not that good. So when I told you that I competed and I won first prize, I was working on energy trading. I traded Ethereum, and we use controllers. And we were looking, it was difficult to look for an expert, but it's easier now. But at that time, I had to ask experts, international experts. And actually in Thailand, we do have experts. And so if our startups have this, it will support us. It was a challenge in the past, but now it's a good start.
คน
And next about people. We have successful people who are entrepreneurs and can mentor other people. In Thailand, actually, we do have people, and you can hear, a lot of names. Mr. Thapji Ranu Wongnai, who's our Thai citizen, homegrown. We did not recruit from overseas, though. And if you compared with Indonesia, can you just imagine the name of the applications? Singapore, Malaysia, even in Vietnam. Vietnam quite strong trend. So we lacked of this, but it didn't mean that we cannot do anything. We have good starting point like today. The NIA, what NIA have done is considered a right kickoff. Next, talent pool. There are two kind of talent pools. Number one, if we invest like myself, if I put a venture in Thailand, the cost is higher than in Thailand. Actually, our economic it's better. But what I have encountered personally, we need to talk with parents, talk with the young gen parents. They may ask why they have to do this business because there is no future. Me as an investor, how should I answer? The young gen have passion, but their parents said if they can earn income by selling other products, and how long they need to be able to be successful. So some, not all can achieve, right? Some have dreams, but they may not be successful and they may leave. So we have to encourage the team. So the talents that we do have talents, but number one, they may have problem with their families. And secondly, we have to create a persuasive, ecosystem. Just close your eyes and think about Bangkok. Where are startups? Where are co-working space? So I'll open the office in Kasset area. I don't have any network. So if you want to go there, you can engage me. So actually, there's a lot of opportunities, to really create on our own. In the past 3 years, we have limitations such as COVID, and we are in a right start. Number 8, founders and people, or people who engage with us to bring our business overseas. This is something that we still lack. And another problem is about visas and etc. If you ask me, do we have some kind of the agencies can work on a visa? Look at Agoda, they have programmer, they have foreign programmers. We have to really study on that. And number 9, for domestic founders, most of Thai people are quite conservative. If you compare with the U.S. market, they they take high risk, and if they think anyone it's beneficial, they will take or cope with those risks. So now let's come back to our startups. Actually, they need to have income and they have to, cover the monthly expenses. So the Thai startup that as far as I knew, they mostly are from quite wealthy family. They can survive the business with the family support. But for those startup who rely on salary to survive their business, I think if we have those kind of startup, just let me know. I would put more investment. So talk about people. If you economy could be compared as water. Infrastructure could be waterways. So people could be the one who paddle the boat in order to cruise on the boat. And next is about government and regulation, how we can facilitate, how we can make sure that we can smoothen all the process. Number one, government financial support. I think these cost limitations. Look at in overseas experience. They set up the fund. They set up independent fund though, but under the support from the government sectors. It's kind of difficult to depend on public sectors. Only NIA or National Innovation Agencies, grant the funds, and this is something that the public sector can help and work together with the private sector. Next, about impact of the program. In the past period, we can see a lot of successes in China. Do you think that it can be successful in a date? But there are other enablers. It's like the wind beneath wing, and the operations, the startup operations. If you look in overseas, there are performance share stocks. In Thailand, we don't have those kind of things. Many big companies set up CBCs, and we discussed that how we can grant equity reward. One of our limitation in Thailand, we don't have performance share. And it's quite difficult. Well, what does performance share? Look at Steve Jobs come back to Apple. That's performance share. In Thailand, in other countries, they use this kind of mechanism to maintain talents among startups. And last one, investors or the policymakers or may have some restriction. So with these 13 items are challenges. I try to envision and to illustrate to you how we can overcome these kind of challenges. I'm as the representative from the private sectors, and I am the person who are in this industry. And let's look at the international experience. The UK that I just shared to you, actually they flew to our countries in order to recruit our Thai talents. They are second rank. They've been working on this many years ago after they have a digital government policy, almost a decade already, until there was this program. And what are the focus in UK? They focus on collaboration amongst the academy, and they provide fundings, and they have tax privileges, and they cover different expenses. We may try to study this model. And Israel has another model. Israel focus on entrepreneurs because Israel, it's kind of small countries. They're looking for outsiders, but nonetheless, the Israel, they are more proactive. When I talk with Israel startup, they think globally, but us, we focus in Thailand context only, or we can expand to ASEAN and then to Asia, or if we ask them to expand to China, they just ask about some kind of network. But it's kind of different. When I talk with them, they think big. So this is their nature. They have quite good infrastructure. For Singapore, it was ranked as the 7 because the government has programmed good startups. Really became successful in Singapore. They have less, restrictions. So I think that big VCs will invest in that area. But looking in Thailand, we still have our uniqueness, and if we can use innovation as spearhead to really progress in this area. And actually there are 2 countries that perform quite outstanding, Indonesia and Vietnam. There are a lot of startups. Now, if you talked about how we will create impact, what kind of impacts that we can create, let me give a simple summary. There are 4 of them. Number 1, if you look at our countries, is different from the US, which been established by private sector mostly, but we in Thailand, we really need to rely on public sectors such as NIA, to work as or to act as a facilitator to support different sectors to progress further. Because in Thailand, we have a network from academia or in international partners like such as JTRO, who joined today the event. So without the public sectors can really will our work, we cannot really rely on public or private sectors like my company or other private companies. And I think that we are in a right move. Secondly, we should do some kind of equity matching. We're not gonna put only monetary, investment. For Thai startup who are strong already, they may swap or they match the equity with a startup in Israel, for example. So it could be possible or not through our program. Let's say the first day director, right? We already implement this program from NIA. This is something that we try to solve, the issues and challenges. And we need to have more grants. And this is something that private sector should, provide support, should provide financial support, and we have NIA, as the mediator or center focal point. And lastly, these should keep moving and fully, because in the past it's been kick up during the COVID. We need to enhance the collaboration further. So these are the will. This is a will that I mentioned, and it shows. And I already present this cycle to a couple of public organizations. I've been asked, where should we start? I think every one of you, can you please just let me know where should we start? We should start by having success stories of the startups. If I answer in my opinion, I think that we should start everything in parallel. Should we start with the successful story of startups? Yes, we can. But if we have little numbers of them, would it work? Let me work clockwise. Should we have counterclockwise? And then should we have? Do we need to have a good investment deals? I think that all sectors in ecosystem. This is the ecosystem according to Deloitte, studies, and we found that this is the workable ecosystem, and have the NIA in the center. Actually, I would like to put the NIA logo in the center. But we also need to have other partners. We cannot throw all the workload to the director of NIA. We have to help together. We have to make these become possible. And if you deep dive in each functions or each components, if you start from, we have a success full story, could be from Wong Nai. We could showcase bit cup from Kun Top or Kun Wong Nai. If you move forward, the next one
ก็เรียนจากคน
The next is learning from serial entrepreneurs for those who were successful. And in Thailand, it might not be as much as Singapore, but we can start. And next, build, shape, and draw talent. We need people because if there are success stories, then I don't have to answer my mom and dad and tell them why I'm doing it. And when I talk to Vietnamese people, they want to do it. And then I ask them, are their parents okay? Because if their parents see the success of their children, then it's possible. And in fact, in Thailand, we have talent. And in the viewpoint of VCs, the cost, it's better to invest in Thailand rather than investing in Vietnam. And the next, and for building strong reputations and operations, this is something that we need to work on. Because I've been coaching a lot of organizations and I've been asking them, what about your culture? What about, so every organization has to have a coach or mentor in order to support the expansion of Thai startups. Next, investors will come to Thailand. So the wheel has to start, can start at any point. And last of all, actually there's more information and documents that you can download on the right hand side, on the left hand side. But if you have any questions, then the right hand side, if you are interested in ventures, in receiving funding, Deloitte has a program called Deloitte Venture. It's in the UK. You can Google it, Deloitte, and then venture with an S. And you can see more information about this program, which is currently active, and it's for startups in the seed period to A+, for not including B onwards. For instance, in terms of net zero, decarbonization, food tech, fintech, there are many industries, so you can check it out. And finally, I would like to support all of you, as well as startups, public organizations, educational institutions, the private sector, who have been working on this. And I hope that Deloitte study will be beneficial towards all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kun Araya from Deloitte Consulting. And today he has unlocked the potential and assessing the current state of Thailand's ecosystem.